PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Whether you feel like Wario or Princess, whether you say yo or you say Yoshi, or if you live in the Bay Area, you could go to Yoshi's, which is a jazz club, or you say, Scoots, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know who you are or what you're talking. Oh, okay. Welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast. It's a podcast that's here to keep you company and put you to sleep. It is very different. So give the show a few tries to see how it goes. If it ends up you don't like the show, don't worry. I have a whole list of other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff at sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Because this show exists because you deserve a good night's sleep. But whether this podcast works for you or not, I still want you to get the rest you need so your life is more manageable, so you can be out there flourishing. So give it a go and see, give the show a go and see how it goes. Hopefully, at some point you'll just stop listening to me and doze off. Because I'm kind of like a friend in the deep dark night talking to you and keeping you company. And what do you need? What else do you need to know? Show's not everybody's cup of tea. It's very strange. Takes some getting used to. Structurally, we got some support. That's how the show comes out for free twice a week. Then there's a long, meandering intro. Don't miss out on it. It's a show within a show meant to ease you into bedtime, where I try to describe what the podcast is unsuccessfully. I've done it over 1,000 times. And then there'll be a bedtime story. Hopefully it'll be what I'm supposed to record, which is about Lucozade, Nightwater, newsletter, and characters from the world of Mario or Nintendo, the world of Nintendo. I don't know. Don't worry, I'll just be pondering and wondering. Nothing involving the characters doing anything interesting. And that's the show. Give it a few tries, see how it goes. I'm so glad you're here. And I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, Scoots here. It's time to talk about Patreon. And I want to actually, we're having a sale just to the end of this month. You could save 16% on an annual patron of Sleep With Me. You're not going to want to miss out this summer. There's going to be so much new Patreon stuff. Catalog episodes, Fearless Flyer episodes, Walking with Scoots episodes, Walking with Ray episodes, and even more. You do not want to miss out. So sign up now by the end of the month when you're hearing this message. And you could save 16%. I think that's 2 months free. But I just want to walk you through the process. You could listen, the Patreon content you listen to for most patrons on the same podcast app they listen to the free show on. We recommend Pocket Cast, Overcast, Podcast Addict, but you could also listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. There's tons of different podcast apps you can use. So I'm just going to walk you through the process, whether you're a patron or not. Have your Patreon account or sign up. Go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed, PATRONFEED. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed, and it'll ask you to log into your Patreon account. It'll bring you to a screen that says Acast for Patreon. You'll click allow, and that'll just verify your account. And then it'll bring up a list of podcast apps you could listen in, and pick your app from that list. Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts. It knows what apps are even on your phone or your tablet. You can listen in more than one app. So if you want to try Pocket Casts, this is a great other tip I get from a lot of patrons. They have a dedicated app. Most patrons, it's Pocket Casts, where they only listen to Sleep With Me. They don't have any other podcasts in that feed, so they could turn off vocal boost, so they could turn off smart speed, they can set their sleep timers. So yeah, that's it. You click allow. You pick your podcast app from the list, give it a few minutes to open, especially if you're a $10 or $20 patron. There's like 2,000 episodes in there between all the bonus content, and you're good to go. If you're not a patron, you're hearing this, that's all you need to do. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed, log in, click allow, and pick your podcast app from the list. Follow or subscribe, whatever your podcast app uses, and you're good to go. Sign up now, though. You don't want to miss out on this sale. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed. All right, everybody. It is time for the Sleepy Supporters. Well, actually, this is probably going to be the former Sleepy Supporter Zone because the Sleepy Supporter Zone just isn't working. And the whole idea of with podcasting is it's kind of an opt-in medium. You know, we get our support from people who support the sponsors or support the show directly. And right now, the Sleepy Supporter Zone is a way for me to kind of thank people supporting the sponsors and letting me know about it. And it just isn't working. And that's like just a reality. So I'd love for you to fill out this opt-in by just taking the survey at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors as I try to navigate this. Like, should I get rid of the Sleepy Supporter Zone? Should I change up how we do the show? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure that out. But I did, I have been asking people to fill out that form. So I wanted to thank Katie, Britt, Vera, and Trina, who all filled out the form. Just let me know, hey, this is what I get out of the podcast. And I really appreciate you opting in and letting me know and let me know what you think about the show. So if you fill out that form, I'll try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, and you get to express your opinions about the show. And yeah, I've had a couple people, anonymous people, that have let me know their opinions about the show. So it's like, if you got something to get off your chest, or you want to support the show, but you're not in a position to do so, or you say, you know what, I don't want to support the show. Yeah, take the time to support the show just by filling out that form. Thanks so much for opting in to sleep with me. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. And there's links to resources where you could do that right in the show notes, including international resources. It's about being a part of positive change, too. Not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop API hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but taking action and learning more. And there's also resources in the show notes where you could do that. One of the things we're involved in is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness and supporting the Midnight Mission. It's a large shelter and so much more, offers so many services in downtown Los Angeles to support people experiencing homelessness. So please use that link. There's tons of ways to support it, including if you live in Los Angeles, you could volunteer at the Midnight Mission. You could get involved. You could always just contact me. I can introduce you to people there. Whatever you're into, there's probably a way to be a service to people experiencing homelessness. Whether it's in Los Angeles or in your local community. And that's what we're all about. So check it out right in our show notes. And that's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out in this show. Who are they?
Poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound or on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. If you want those sleep phones, Sleep With Me branded sleep phones, different models with Sleep With Me swag on it, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones, and use Sleep With Me to get $5 off your order. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. Whether it's thoughts, like you're thinking about, thoughts about the past, present, the future, or just thoughts that are in your brain going on, doing stuff. It could be anything, feelings coming up for you emotionally related to those thoughts or that are just there. It could be physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going somewhere. You could have guests. You could be going through something or have something coming up. Whatever it is, I'm here to keep you company so that you could fall asleep. And the reason I go through a bunch of different stuff is so that you feel less alone. I've heard from a lot of listeners over the years. I've been making the show since 2013, and I've had the honor of hearing what other people are going through. And I really consider it an honor, one, because people trust me. And that's like the second largest number of feedback I get, other than I have strong feelings about you. The second most thing I get is, hey, this is what I've gone through. I can't sleep. Thanks for making this podcast. It helps. And that means a lot because there is a common thread of the thoughts, feelings, or physical sensations and how it feels in the deep, dark night, in that I can relate to how it feels. I haven't gone through what all of our listeners go through, what you might be going through, but I can probably relate to how it feels. And if I can't, someone who's listening right now probably can. Maybe they've even gone through it and they're on the other side of it. And they still listen to the show because they say, hey, it helps as part of my bedtime routine now. So when I talk about that, it's because, one, I want you to feel less alone. Even though this is digital, we're all out there somewhere in the deep, dark night. Just like that imaginary Jimmy Buffett album that was never made in my imagination. You know, it's always the deep, dark night somewhere. It wasn't because they said that, man, like that's not very Buffety. And I'd say, you're right about that, but so I shouldn't call the album Buffett After Dark. And they said, well, I thought that was going to be like romantic songs. And I said, no, it's mostly, it's more dirge. Does Jimmy Buffett do a dirge? Because, I think the time has come. Like, if anybody could do a dirge, I bet it would be Jimmy Buffett. And, but that's not why we listen to Jimmy Buffett. Okay, even in my imagination, even the parrot heads within my mind, they're not, you see, you don't want to hear Jimmy Buffett sing After Dark. Well, no, we want to, Buffett After Dark. We can go with that. But we're picturing more neons, pastels, maybe some, a cacophony of steel drums. Okay. I mean, there's no rules that say that can't be an dirge. I don't know, unless you look up the definition of dirge, and then maybe you'd say, according to the definition of dirge, one, I don't think it means what you think it means. Two, you can't, you could have muted color. Okay, I was just trying to meet you where you were, but I can see that the song, that's why here's the thing, that's why it was never made even within my imagination. That's the deep, but it is, that's why it's more suited for a show like Sleep With Me. It's always the deep, dark night for somebody somewhere. But the good news is, that's why I make the show, because you deserve a good night's sleep. It took a long, meandering thing to say that. That's why I make the show. You deserve the rest you need so your life is more manageable. I have to put this in because every once in a while stuff like this pops in my brain. But if Doc Brown took a time machine to like 5 minutes, like if Jimmy Buffett was here and we were actually having a meeting about this, and then I said, well, I got to go wash my hands. And then Doc Brown appeared when I left the room. He'd say, Jimmy, come with me. Dirges, where we're going. I don't know what Doc Brown would say, unfortunately. Dirges. Yeah, he'd say, dirge, where we're going, we don't need any dirges. And then they would fly off, and then I'd be like, all right, Jimmy, you ready to sign that contract? My hands are washed. And I'd say, Jimmy, Doc Brown, was that a DeLorean shooting across the sky again? So I guess that joke didn't actually work. And any dirge, if someone was named Dirge, it'd be better. But they'd say, Dirges, where we're going, we don't need any dirges. You're right, it's only singular when it works. Roads isn't singular, though. It's just different syllables. Okay. Did you know, Brain, I'm trying to introduce a sleep podcast? I am here to get sidetracked by your wonderful ideas. But so I was trying to explain to the new listener, the most important person here, that they deserve the rest they need, a bedtime they could look forward to or at least feel neutral about, so that they can get the rest they need, so their life is more manageable, and so that you could be out there flourishing. That's why I make the show, because I know how it feels, and I want the best for you, because that means our world's a better place to be in if your world's better. So, I forgot what I was even... That's why I make the show. What I do is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. I go off topic, I get mixed up, and then I double back. I mean, like that dirge stuff, it's still in my brain. I'm wondering, this is where my brain is while I'm trying to talk. It's in the car with Doc Brown and Jimmy Buffett, wondering, I wonder what they're talking about. That's really what my thoughts were saying to me while I'm trying to introduce the show. So what do you think they're talking about after they left your house? What do you think? And also, what do you think Jimmy Buffett's wearing? And where do you think, like when Jimmy Buffett adjusts his seat in a time machine that's a DeLorean, what kind of, is it an automatic seat? And yeah, what are they talking about? Does Doc Brown point stuff out? Is Jimmy Buffett just totally like rolling with it? Is he so relieved to get out of signing the contract to make the Dirge album or an album of dirges? I mean, I don't know if you said, yeah, but you could have steel drums and neon. I picture multiple neon signs. I mean, there are there are cultures that celebrate. I don't know if they use dirges. So let's not act like I'm the only, like there's been good quality versions of what I'm talking about, not just my version. But I don't think they'd be talking about that. Maybe say, do you got any snacks in your glove box? I don't know. I mean, that might be something that comes up. And I wonder if Jimmy Buffett would like tap the flux. Is it the flux capacitor with his finger? Because I think I would do that. Even then, Doc, don't do that. Doc, who's Doc Brown and who's Jimmy Buffett? So sorry. I realize there's a large portion of our audience. Doc Brown has been in commercials lately, is a character from the movie Back to the Future. Jimmy Buffett is a very successful musician. Jimmy Buffett fans are known as parrot heads. And Jimmy Buffett has a style of music that's beloved for being like capturing a relaxing feel associated with the idea of Margaritaville. Or like, I don't know. That's about as, anyway, you're probably sure how to fall asleep anyway. Oh, but I was about to say pointless meanders and superfluous tangents, and then I went on another one. But really, that'd be an interesting thing to be in the car just as an observer, which is where I'm most comfortable anyway. Don't worry, I'll be back here. I won't say a thing. I'm just going to listen to you too. And watch, see what you guys look at. I'm just here to observe. I'm just interested. And buckle up, by the way, even in Margaritaville, we buckle up. Even in, when we're even in time travel, please buckle up. Okay, so, holy crow. I don't know if I've ever gone, I'm in another meander I can't quite get out of. Okay, so I'll just imagine that that Doc put the thing on autopilot and they're both taking a nap. Maybe they're listening to Sleep With Me. I mean, that'd be meta. Maybe they're accidentally, maybe that's what I could do. That would be the service I could provide. You say, well, yeah, why don't you come along? And we see you washed your hands, and Jimmy was going to try to sneak out, but you could just put us to sleep. The DeLorean has, but oh no, time and space has said you can't go anywhere. Sorry. Yeah, there is that technicality. Every authority over time and space has said, keep him put till we figure out what to do with him. So anyway, that's a good way to move on. I forgot about that. Every time Space Authority has said, please keep Scooter where he is. So what I'll do, so pointless meanders, superfluous tangents, all to keep you company while you fall asleep. This is a podcast you don't really need to listen to. You could just kind of barely listen to it, almost like background noise. Some people listen to me at a mumble. Some people listen to me across the room. A lot of people are just kind of listening. I think if you've heard the content thus far, you'd get the idea of what just kind of listening is, because the show just kind of barely makes any sense. Or I can just barely follow my thoughts. So you say, oh yeah. Okay, I can picture what you're saying. I can get the gist of what you're saying, or a general idea, even if you don't know who Doc Brown or Jimmy Buffett is. But maybe you will tomorrow. Maybe say, it's the weirdest thing. So yeah. What was I saying? Pointless. So this is a podcast you don't really listen to. You just kind of barely listen. Also doesn't put you to sleep. There's no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here for over an hour to keep you company while you fall asleep. I'm here to be your boyfriend, your borbay, your borsib, your borbud, your borbestie, your neighbor, your borbud. Your friend in the deep dark night to keep you company while you fall asleep. So that's what I'll be doing, is just taking your mind off. So just like a friend across the room, and you say, you have a friend like this, I'm assuming, or you've met someone like this. And you say, if only you could talk to me about this kind of stuff when I'm trying to fall asleep and I didn't have any social commitment to you, it'd be great. And now here I am, right in time for bedtime. The other things to know, most people don't like the show on the first 2 to 3 listens. That's like over 1 million people have confirmed that. And they say, at first, I just couldn't stand you. Or at first, couldn't fall asleep because I didn't know when the show was going to start till I realized it never starts. Just always going. Or at first, I expected something a little bit more palatable or comforting. And then I realized, that's exactly what's comforting and palatable about your show. Is it's incomprehensible in a way that's relatable. And you say words, and sometimes they are in the wrong place, even in the wrong paragraph. I say, you got me, really, I feel seen now. So it's about, what was I saying? A podcast you don't really listen to. Nobody really likes it on the first try. There are people, if you like the show on your first try, I get you. We're probably, we're in tune. But it usually takes usually people get here and you have a different expectation, which is understandable. Because there's not a lot of stuff like this out there. There is, you just got to find it. But when you don't find it, you don't know it when you found it till it's already kind of been discovered, right? You're like, oh, yeah, this is my kind of thing, man. You'd say, yeah, listening in, that's the kind of thing I'd be into if I ever had a point. This is what I didn't know I was looking for this. That's a common thing. People say, I didn't know I was looking for this, but I am. So if you don't like the show, just see how it goes a few tries. Structurally, the show is designed in a very specific way that as you become a regular listener, you could adjust. But let me just explain to you why it's structured the way it is. Starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in, and you say, okay, I might be able to check that podcast out, or at least see why it doesn't make any sense. So that's the first part. Then there's support for the show, so it can be free twice a week. There's a lot of work that goes into making a show that sounds like this. This part of the show is just natural for most of it, but the rest of the show takes work putting it together and everything. So that's what the support enables us to do. And come out twice a week for free. We got over 550 free episodes you could listen to. And then this is separate from the support is the intro, which we're in. And I would really hate it if people missed out on an intro like this, because I had no idea what I was going to talk about when I sat down. And I really would not have thought that I probably have put those two people together, but I couldn't have planned it. I mean, how lucky did I get? I was trying to talk Jimmy Buffett into making a Dirge album, and he was whisked away by Doc Brown. I mean, I guess I got to stay here by myself and record a podcast and not have a concept album that I designed from the ground up in my imagination recorded. And Jimmy Buffett gets to time travel with Doc Brown. And I have to deal with my nonsense. So it's a win-win for everybody. But that's where the intro is a show within a show. It's where I try to introduce what the podcast is. So it's totally separate from the support. It's meant to ease you into bedtime and to kind of like lower the volume on the day, to give you a little distance before you fall asleep or before you start drifting off. You know, I don't know, to send you in for a landing. So some people are listening while they're in bed getting comfortable. Some people are falling asleep. A few people are already asleep. We're so happy, almost as happy as we are for everybody that's allowed to time travel. There's people who are getting ready for bed. There's people doing other sorts of chill activities. There's about 2% of people skip the show and started at somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. So just see how it goes. But the whole idea of the intro is that what's shown to work with sleep stuff is having a wind down and a bedtime routine. And so the intro is a part of that because I know it works. It works for me. It works for a lot of other people. Even if you don't use this podcast, if you like move on or you decide you don't like it, having a nice little wind down period, it's going to help. Trust me. And it gives you something to look forward to. That's why I always recommend doing some other chill activity, like petting your pets, drawing, foam. I don't recommend foam rolling, but foam rolling is something I do. Reading a nice book, reading some comics, whatever it is, to have something special to look forward to at bedtime. And that's what I hope this podcast can be for some of you. So that's the intro. Then there's support between the intro and the story. Then tonight will be a story taken from my friend Adam's newsletter, Nightwater. And the link to the Nightwater newsletter will be in the show notes. So we'll do that. We'll talk about Lucozade and characters from Mario. And we'll see how that goes. All to ease you into bedtime and keep you company. And I'm so glad you're here. I work really hard. I yearn and I strive. And I really hope it can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's how I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive helps you compare direct auto rates from a variety of companies so you can find a great one, even if it's not with them. Quote today at Progressive.com to find a rate that works with your budget. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. All right, everybody scoots here. It's time for our, I guess this has become an annual, we tune into Radio Nightwater. Even though I don't know the call sign of Radio Nightwater anymore. I don't know if I ever, I don't know, W. I don't know what it is, but maybe the announcer at Radio Nightwater will know. Hopefully they will. But I can't promise anything because, Nightwater, Radio Nightwater, and Nightwater is a newsletter from our friend Adam. You may have heard the podcast episode I did. You could check that out on Nightwater. You just use the links in the show notes. But Nightwater's a newsletter, kind of late night, idiosyncratic pop culture newsletter, as refreshing as a glass of cold water at 3 a.m. And last year we did a crossover episode that was really fun with Cabbage Patch. It was some sort of Cabbage Patch. I don't even remember what happened on it. I can picture myself in the tree with Cabbage Patches being birthed around or coming to existence around me. So that was what happened last time. But sign up for the Nightwater newsletter. Use the link in our show notes. And without further ado, let's turn the radio dial. So we're turning the radio dial to get to a newsletter, which some people would have called, it's not a blog, it's newsletter. And it's, it's not a Tumblr. You don't have to tumble for me. But yeah, without further ado, here's Radio Nightwater. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in to Radio Nightwater. Radio. That's as cool as a drink of water at 3 a.m. Radio, night water. This is, the following is a, what do you call that? An archived broadcast of Radio Night Water from the past, but maybe in a universe where the past and future bent closer together on some sort of other timeline. Thanks for listening to the Radio Night Water Archive Hour. Radio Night Water. And this broadcast is probably narrated by a relative of mine that may sound very similar to me. Take it away. Thanks everybody. Thanks again. This is Radio Night Water. That was the weather and traffic, which we only barely ever do, because there's not much use for it. Even though we realize there could be people listening at this hour, most people are just listening while they have their night water. But you may say to yourself, night water? What about during the day? You're like, what do we now? What is this broadcast for? What will I hear? Well, this is a monumental broadcast. Even though you can't hear my excitement, it's because it's time. It's night water hour 1. So I'm trying to keep my excitement contained. But I'm here in the planning room where the night water theme park, sponsored by Lucozade, in the most fictional way that may also be parody or whatever's necessary to say that maybe this is just but this is an archive broadcast from to you, another universe. So, but this is a theme park being planned from the ground up by our founder, Adam, and a team of people who use their imaginations, but they don't have any principles of engineering, which could cause problems with the future of the theme park. But this is Radio Night Water. We're talking about, well, they don't have a name for the park yet, but it was a vision of, the team of, it all came from, 2 of the most popular blog posts on Night Water. So let me dig into our deep history banks here, because it was 2 famous posts. Now, they weren't the most popular, but they were very popular posts, but as time wore on, they became treasured. It feels like it was just August 9th of 2022 when Adam posted 5 more Lucozade flavors I drank this month ranked without the mid, but it was written, so it wasn't pronounced like that. After another visit to the UK, Adam had 5 different flavors of Lucozade. And starting at Gatwick Airport with an original Lucozade, which you may remember, the discussions around the Lucozade cooler, when it finally became the ubiquitous drink of everyone. And people became something associated with something, said if Disneyland wasn't sponsored by Disney, maybe it could have been sponsored by, if Lucozade was around back then. But we live in a different world now, a world that is thankful for Lucozade. But in 2022, they were saying, really, Adam ranked original 5th out of 5 flavors he had on that trip. And he had it at Gatwick Airport, but on his departure. So, greater minds than mine have said, did that impact Adam's enjoyment of Lucozade Original? But it wasn't the favorite beverage Adam had. But, that when we began to work on Lucozade Park, Nightwater Park, it does sound more interesting. Nightwater Park will only be open at night, though there will be other lands or parks within it's not Lucozade land. Sorry, I'm asking my producer. They're shaking their head. But there will be, and it will be based on Lucozade Original. And it will be spectacular at night. And because some parks you need weenies, they say. And, while we can't get into the description of, we're just here teasing the park. This is like one of those specials. This is a special you listen to at 3 a.m., before or after your night water. Or you say, well, I had my night water at 12. Now I have to have relief for my night water at 4 a.m., so I'm tuning in to radio, night water. The Lucozade Original will be the tower, or it's not a castle, but it'll be made up of gigantic bottles of Lucozade made to look like a castle, but they'll be lit within and spectacularly. I mean, at least if this model shows anything, when all the lights are out in this room, so you can't see the fact that it's just Lucozade bottles and Scotch tape. But you can't see that. You can only see the different LED lights shining within. And I'm told there'll be projection mapping, which I still don't totally understand, but I've seen it in action. But I say that's brilliant, because you can't light a castle from the inside. And you can't have a bottle of Lucozade without a bottle. And, of course, instead of fireworks, there'll be a fountain show shooting off from, they don't know what they're going to call it, because it's not a castle, it's not a tower, but it looks like that. But it is all Lucozade Original bottles on the model. And, again, no one's working because it's 3 a.m. I'm here by myself with this amazing update. But I'll tell you, as you look down Lucozade Lane, that's the when you enter the park, and you see it towering at the end of the thing, and knowing you can only go in at night, which I do think is really smart, especially, like I said, it looks amazing. Turn out the lights, this place looks great. I wonder, I don't wonder, I just wonder what it'll be like. Why didn't other places think of that? Oh, yeah, you could come by our business, but only after dark. Now, Lucozade Lane will also be where the shops and some restaurants are. I don't know if we'll have time to cover that today. It'll be part of the parade grounds where if there is a parade, it'll parade down there. But there'll also be many there'll be different and this is where they really got to dig in. These people here to imagine. There will be eras of vintage delivery vehicles, and they won't be delivering to Gatwick Airport. They'll be imagining you could ride, and they will encourage cosplay. Now, I wonder if it'd be cosplay. You could do cosplay as your favorite, your favorite night water post. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Cabbage Patch Kids. But they'll highly encourage you to, go as your favorite Lucozade character, which, are pending, or, in your favorite colors or as your favorite flavor. And you'll get the chance to go up and down Lucozade Lane in vintage vehicles that would have delivered Lucozade. So all sorts of ones, including like current vintage, a hover car. But it'll be a vintage-looking hover car as they were envisioned in the past. But horse-drawn trolley, cars and vehicles that go putt, 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 including ones that'll be there to keep you cool. So that, like, if you want your Lucozade ice cold, you could pretend, and that's a nice relief from the heat here and wherever we are. And of course, there'll be music, the transportation vehicles. I wonder if they'll glow. They don't glow. They have lights on them here. But I would say, is there a way? Now, yeah, maybe. How come they didn't ask my opinion? I would put, wait a second. What does this button do? So I was right. So there will be the vehicles are painted in black light paints. And the black lights, I guess, are hidden on the shops up and down what is it called? Lucozade Lane. And so that'll be even cooler. I wonder, I guess people like, I think this will be popular with the young people. And, they'll say, like, there is going to be a unofficial, at 4 hours and 20 minutes, there will be something, unofficial to celebrate that time. Kind of a sanctioned, unsanctioned thing. So that'll be very, very exciting. So those are a couple of things. Let me get to the history though. Back to the history was that the thing that started it all. The 5 more Lucozade flavors I drank this month. The ranked was number 4, Tropical Zero. So not just tropical, but zero tropical. Because Adam had a Lucozade Sport, which is an uncarbonated Lucozade spinoff. Oh, you may be listening to Radio Nightwater. You may not even know. My producer just said they might not know what Lucozade is. So maybe let me bounce back to the original article that kind of started it all before it all started, back September 7th, 2021. 4 Lucozade flavors I drank this month, the ranked, where Adam talked about his British partner and some of the differences, like Berenstain and Berenstain Bears, TJ Maxx, TK Maxx, and, a lot of different stuff. But there's also, to quote Adam, in this alternative universe, there's also a mind-blowing soft drink called Lucozade, Lucozade. Proper Lucozade is a carbonated energy drink powered by glucose. And it used to be primarily marketed as an energy drink and was sold just in what they would refer to as pharmacies before going mainstream in the 80s. And it's much different than flat Gatorade, which they sell in the U.S. Now, you can buy it. I remember buying it in the Bronx, but it's a bit marked up where you're paying $4 for a bottle that would cost £1. And Adam did have 9 bottles of Lucozade in 8 days on a trip, his first trip to the UK. But we're just going to go through this trip, which covered a mere 5 bottles in 9 days, 4 different flavors. So that, well, let's stick with this. So number 4 on that article was Raspberry Lucozade Sport. There we go. That was the Lucozade Sport Adam was referring to. And Adam said, remember how I said Lucozade is carbonated? Well, this is a spinoff, which he did not enjoy. So keep it carbonated. That's one of the shirts we'll be selling here at Nightwater Park or Lucoland. Nightwater Park was sponsored by whatever it will be. But get back to that carbonation. And the Tropical Zero is, so Adam did say that after having that first Lucozade Sport, he decided to have a Lucozade Tropical Zero, which is still carbonated. It's not a Lucozade Tropical Sport Zero, but that's sugar-free. And this one, it tasted a bit like carbonated pineapple juice. But here's the thing that, circling all of Nightwater Park will be the tropical train powered by carbonation. It'll say powered by Lucozade. And it'll be so exciting. Circling Nightwater Park, much like other parks have trains. So, of course, we'll have the tropical train, which will have a tropical train band, which, all we know, we're hoping that the band could be built in, like have their own car, or multiple cars on the train with built-in instruments or, so kind of like a stage. It'll be a rotating stage, a rotating concert. So you'll circle Nightwater Park listening to the sounds of band on the tropical train band on the tropical train. That is, and the train will be literally powered by carbonation, which we're told is not the best idea, but it's viable. And because we said, can't you do that with can't you make something for your science, for your science competition that you make a boat or a car go with baking soda or something? Figure it out, make a train go. We're only here to imagine. That's all the budget we were given. We weren't here to implement. But that's what it'll do. Powered by the whole park will be powered by carbonation in some sense. But that's going to be exciting. And the sounds of the band, I am hoping for some steel drums. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. But it would be exciting. And again, it'll add to the ambiance of the park overall because you'll have, instead of the choo-choo-choo, I guess you'll have the fizz-fizz-fizz of the train, fizz-fizz-fizzing along on its carbonation. But then you'll also have the band, which will be playing. I guess we'll have to figure that out if how the band, it'd be different bands, I would assume. Or the band maybe only performs a few times a day because the train probably will have to go every 15 minutes. But that'll be circling the land. We're very excited for that. Couldn't be even more excited. And so that's that. Let's get back to the history and the inspiration for this park. And, the train, that'll be going at night too. Which will be very exciting. And again, giving a chance for something to see that's different, that's very, think of the things they can do in the trees and the way you could change your perspective and depth as you're going along in a train listening to music. But normally, if it was daytime, you could say, well, that's not a forest because I can see beyond the forest because of the light. But now we can make it look like a forest. And again, use lighting and paint and black lights and sounds to make it something really fun. And that's also what we're expecting with this next inspiration, which was came in at number three on the countdown here at Radio Nightwater, counting down the hits that made it possible to build this theme park, one attraction at a time. And that is Caribbean Crush, or Caribbean Crush, depending on how you say it. But, if you've heard the song Caribbean Queen, maybe you'll even sing Caribbean Crush, but you won't sing it like that. But Adam had to say this is the the version of Tropical with sugar, which gives it an instant leg up. It's a little less fruity, but that sweet kick does help. And that's why it came in at number 3. And what would be a better use of the letter C than to have a Caribbean Crush coaster, even though I had trouble saying it, where you'll ride in bottles. Of course, you'll ride in bottles of Caribbean Crush. And this will be both an this will be one of these hybrid roller coasters that goes on both tracks and in the water, which, they didn't really perfect. Usually they would use water for just one effect or as a slowing down system. But it'll be exciting, and you'll be going through an imaginary world that we're still working on the writing for it here at Radio Nightwater. A world where instead of the planet being whatever 70 or 90 or 40, percent water, this will be so the start of the ride will be you somehow transporting to this planet, Luco 4 or something, I don't know, and traveling there by some sort of, ripple in time or something. And you'll arrive there in a land full of, and this is exciting, and some people may say pish-posh about it, but you could have all the colors of the Lucozade rainbow, liquidy, flowing and stuff like that, and then really contrasting. And that's what's important about Nightwater Park is that, again, using the darkness to enhance the light or using light to enhance the darkness. So you'll see floating, many different colors of the rainbow. Now, we've had some pushback as we said, well, should this be, originally the idea was, this is like, you're going to Lucozade production area. And we said, well, not for this one. And then other people said, well, why is it called the Caribbean Crush Coaster? And we said, because you're in a Caribbean Crush Lucozade bottle. Because they said after that doesn't really have anything to do with Caribbean or the Caribbean. And we said, yes, but we're still in the conceptual stage. But you'll travel to another world where, there's all different, like a Lucozade River that you'll go in for a while. So you'll get a launch like a coaster because that's how you're going. And then you'll go through some spacey stuff. Then you will slow down into a thing. And then I think, then they'll say, okay, we've lost contact with, mission control or whatever. And then the river will pick up its pace. And, they'll go through different cool stuff. We don't have a lot of it completed. But we're thinking, spacey stuff, like space mountains, which are different than regular mountains in the fact that they look different. And they'll have more neon yellows and oranges. We have thought about having like a character called Luco. But then it looked too, like the Luco things look too much like Teletubbies. So we've gone back to the drawing board and said that just doesn't work unless they could get permit, because they said, well, with the coloring, those colors would really pop if they but so that's our first attraction. Now, next piece of history we're going to cover is Apple Blast. Now, this was an upset because in Adam's previous rankings, Apple Blast was at the top. Tastes just like candy. But Adam maybe had an extra large bottle of Apple Blast, which might have been too much of a good thing. And of course, we'll hop back and do the original coverage of Apple Blast. When it came in at number 1, that was a Lucozade Energy. But yeah, sugary with a nice kick. The ideal Lucozade when you want to treat yourself a little bit. You deserve it. But it was also inspired by Adam's picture of him holding the Apple Blast Lucozade Energy, which is a bright green, as you would say with the Apple Blast bottle. This is going to be an exciting thing because it is going to be one of these attractions, because Adam was standing in front of a cinema. And so we said to ourselves, okay, maybe we should make this like a theater show. Apple, because you say, well, normally it's so Apple Blast with like, and this did come up in our meetings. Well, why can't we call it the Caribbean Crush Coaster the Apple Blast? And we said Caribbean Crush Coaster. That's why. And they said, but it doesn't make any sense. And we said, you're listening to Radio Nightwater. Sorry, that's my, but so, W, whatever, we don't have a call sign now because we've gone, this is an archive. Even though I shouldn't know that, but somehow I do. But so they said this. We said that we can't have Caribbean Crush theater show. But we did make some allowments, which, if you're listening to this, you're probably a Radio Nightwater insider. You probably pay to enjoy day soda. And, what could we call Lucozade during the day but a day soda? And hopefully, one day there'll be Day Soda Park, which will be the daytime counterpart to Nightwater Park. But so back to the Apple Blast attraction. Now, this will be family friendly, but it will be, the ride will have unexpected activity. But we wanted to do it differently than anybody's doing it right now, except, this is maybe somebody's done it at this point. But so we're going to have it just like in that, in the queue, you'll see the pictures of Adam holding his favorite Lucozade bottles, but each one will be secretly constructed to tell you what to expect on the ride. The only original photo will be the original Apple Blast photo, with the name of the cinema changed. The proposition is that you'll be there for the premiere of a movie that Adam's created based on his love of Lucozade, originally called The Lucozade Love Story, but now sponsored by, now called Apple Blast. The film, Apple Blast, it's a blast. So you'll be there and you'll think you're there for Apple Blast, but of course you'll also get 3D glasses and you'll say, oh, okay, but it's a 3D film. And you'll say, is it one of those 4D films where there's effects in the theater, or the seats move, or water shoots out, or stuff, comes down, or Stadler, you've experienced these attractions before. But what you won't know until it happens, but you probably will because everybody knows stuff now before it happens. So do yourself a favor and, don't tell other people or tell them not to find out, but you'll have found out because you're listening here. Because you're here because you need to know. So you'll be watching and there will be a few minutes of very exciting 3D motion, but then you'll start to feel like we don't have the plot down yet. We just have what we expect to happen, which will be something in the movie related to an Apple Blast, because that's what the executive said. They said, you need an Apple Blast that shows, but we said, okay, and they said, no, that shows the power, like how Apple Blast makes you feel on the inside. And then we said, like actual, and they said, no. How does it, go ahead, take another sip of Apple Blast. How does it make you feel? And then we said, well, can't we just go? And they said, okay, sure. Yeah. How did it make Adam feel? And we said, all right, like a tree, like an Apple Blast, like it was an Apple Blast. So maybe there'll be something where Adam's, sipping an Apple Blast under a tree, and then somehow the Apple Blast comes into existence. I don't know. But you will, instead of, and this will be exciting because you'll think, what we want you to think is like something's happening, right? But you're like, oh, this is just part of the 4D film experience. But then you'll realize that you're actually sitting not in theater, but on a giant platform, which is its own. Well, there's going to be multiple platforms, but that part's not important. But you'll realize that you're actually in an attraction vehicle, and then you'll say, okay, well, it's just going to drop down, right? And again, we're looking at how to make this a family-friendly attraction, but still very exciting. But eventually you'll go Apple Blast, because where would you think you'd go to theater? You'd go down. But no, you're going up, out of the theater, but at an angle. And then it's like an indoor roller coaster experience. That's an Apple Blast. Like you're following along with Apple Blast, who's learned to fly. And so this time, instead of being in a bottle of Apple Blast, you're chasing a sentient bottle of Apple Blast. And, I don't know, so couldn't it be that we have to keep Apple Blast contained, but Apple Blast says, I want to, give everybody a little bit of Apple Blast. So then you see people, happily starting to dance and have fun. And, have joyous experiences related to that flavor. So we expect that to be very, very exciting, and we're very excited about it. And so that's Apple Blast. And then coming in at number one, is the canonical Lucozade flavor orange, even more so than original. Adam took two oranges home, and they even said, well, how come you got Lucozade? But he said, why don't you taste it, man? Now, what's interesting is that orange was once number 2, and now is number 1, now is number 1, switching places with Apple Blast. So that is a classic flavor, more default than classic, according to Adam in his original article. An all-around great orange soda flavor. You never go wrong with orange Luco. And we really had a lot of discussions because we said, okay, well, we really need to find some sort of slow-moving, high-capacity there's going to be other rides here. We're just talking about some of the highlights. But also a ride where we say, remember, this is night. So we do, because a lot of people said, with the Apple Blast one, why did we do it? So we're going to do this one outside using the night again. But using something like, again, where you think you won't know if you're inside or outside, to be honest, depending on the weather, I would propose. But this will be the orange attraction. Orange, like, it's going to be, now this will be, hopefully we'll get enough writing teams in here. Because it's going to be orange, like, based on those knock-knock jokes, like, or orange-related jokes. And there'll be a team of oranges, we decided not to go with a family of oranges, but a team of oranges. And this team of oranges will be there to take you on a boat ride through the world of, I don't know, we don't have that figured out. But we think that, I think like it seemed like a world of citrus, because citrus is so much more than oranges. I don't know, right now they said, aren't you glad to see me, will be how they introduce it. And again, this will be on a boat. That is a bottle of orange Lucozade, of course. And you'll be meandering indoors and outdoors on canals. But the nice thing is that our use of space will have a much more freedom. Because again, we can even erect sound barriers or partial buildings. But using, because with the darkness, we could create layered structures that in the daytime would look very different, but at night with just lighting and things. And they said, well, but what, like, we said, this will be the only night theme park, it's night water. So we are looking at locations where this would make the most sense, which we haven't found any on planet Earth yet. But, just think about the possibilities of other places, in our current times that are climate controlled, where it could be night all the time. And then the park would be open all the time as well. They say, but when they have simulated daytime and nighttime, we say, well, like, it'd be its own location. So I don't know. We're still thinking of ideas, but we're really excited to have a team of oranges and a nice meandering boat ride, with singing. Maybe the oranges are singing different jokes. The jokes are layered in the sense that everybody can enjoy them. Maybe even how, the importance of citrus in history is one thing we're thinking. And the different, times that citrus has made a difference, including, without flavor orange, like there wouldn't be orange-flavored Lucozade, and without the orange being associated with the color orange, you wouldn't associate the color orange Lucozade with the flavor orange, which is in the Lucozade. So, yeah, we're thinking like dancing, singing, a few small ups and downs, so you feel that. But a lot of citrus colors and dancing citrus, and introducing people to new citrus, maybe through knock-knock jokes or other things. maybe even giant doors, but where kids can kind of shout out, or adults or teens or whatever. And we want it to be a attraction where everybody's having fun. And even the ideas of being able to have live performers, like interacting with the guests so the knock-knock jokes are not always stale, or having a boat guide, as is in traditional in some of these attractions. Meeting other beings that are, integral to the, life cycle of citrus, those that help them, and maybe say, oh, no, we turned down, these are the, I don't know, what is that? Why does my citrus suddenly look fuzzy? Well, you kept it in a plastic bag on your can. Oh, okay. So now it's fuzzy. I don't know. Again, we're in the blue sky phases, even though it's nighttime. So we should hop back to, to some of the other influences from the original September 7th, 2021 article. Number 3 was pink lemonade. That was a Lucozade Zero flavor. And, the fact that it was zero sugar did not deter Adam from enjoying it. It's not a knock out of the park, but pretty good if there's no other options. And this is a show we're planning on having with character named Pink Lemonade. And Pink Lemonade will be like a very cheerful, will be funny because, and we're thinking that maybe this is a constantly running show, the characters that are playing Pink Lemonade and Adam. And how we'll accomplish that, we're not sure. Probably some sort of hologram. Adam will be a hologram, because that would make it more possible. But a show that's traveling through the park at all times, stops and does things. And but what will happen is, because Pink Lemonade is such a bright pink color, and eventually, it'll be like a thing where throughout the day the show's going on. So this would be like a 12-hour show. I guess when you say throughout the day, what do you mean? Well, the park will have closing and opening hours, obviously. And so that's the thing. We're leading up to the traditional dawn, even if there's no dawn at where we're locating the park, there will be the idea of dawn. And so Adam and Pink Lemonade, and then maybe a cast of characters, and they're going on a float. At some points, they're in the parade. There's meet and greets. So we're thinking of a depth of character interaction that's a bit more immersive, but this is also on a larger scale. But they'll have a subtle back and forth throughout the day that Pink Lemonade has their doubts about a park that's only open at night. And, Pink Lemonade says, well, yeah, think about me. Think about all the other beautiful colors that are at the break of dawn. But that'll, continually get more and more of a funny debate. But, songs and things going back and forth. What's a day without dawn is one of them. What's a siesta when it's not before sunset if there's no sunset? What's a day without dawn is one I really am pushing for. But so they'll go back and forth, but it'll culminate with this fireworks extravaganza with also Lucozade fountains going off over and over at the end, where the sky will light up, but where it'll go, okay, you really want to feel like there's a sunset, but then on the end, Pink Lemonade will be like, that was a little too bright for me. You're right. I do like it, the night at Night Water Park. and just, use it, as cool as a drink water, drink water at 3 a.m. powered by carbonation and Lucozade. So it'll be exciting, really exciting stuff. We're really looking forward to so it's just a couple here on Radio Nightwater. Like, we just wanted to keep you apprised as we'll be building out this Nightwater Park. And, sponsors come and go. So we could end up just, doing it based on other, if there's other companies that want to base their thing on, because we said we could have like the Cabbage Land. But I think the main rules would be like, what would it be for you as you're listening along here on the radio dial to, what would your Nightwater Park be like? What would you want to see? Go through and look at year 1, year 2. Read through the posts and say, well, I'd prefer, you said this is just where Radio Nightwater got stuck on our idea, because it's when you turn out the lights, things look pretty good. Sometimes you say, well, I guess you could say that. And we said, we do here at Nightwater Park. We do say, when you turn out the lights, this park looks pretty good. And again, it won't be that the park has no lights. I just want to clarify that. It will be using lights in a creative way. And it won't be, I'm just, we're always here having fun. This is going to be a top of the line theme park, not an amusement park. Not that there's anything wrong with amusement parks. But it'll be an exciting place for fun, for family. And but you say, well, or will it be more of a conceptual place that just people between the ages of 16 and 32 go, or people trying to relate to that age range to blow off some steam, or, but we don't know what the future holds. We just think like, oh, you'd be particularly thirsty, if you're really enjoying the lights in the show of Nightwater Park in that manner. But maybe you say, well, no, I prefer, I guess that's another question I would have. I'm going to write it here on the model. It's like, it does have to be all ages park. Maybe not. Maybe not. But either way, make sure to enjoy your Nightwater tonight. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. I want to thank Megan, Neo, and Jake. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Jennifer, Owen, and Emily. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Drew, Alex, and Bailey. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Michael, Kai, and Colleen. Thanks, and good night. Angela, Louise, and Ross, thank you, thanks, and good night. JP, Janet, and Chuck, thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks for everybody who supports the show directly on Apple or on Patreon or supports our sponsors. That's how the show comes out free twice a week. A huge free way to help the show is just spread the word, let people know about it wherever you go online. And, we've got over 500 plus episodes in the archives ready to go for you. Thanks to whatever Scoots asks for Patreon or a Tuck You In sponsor. Thanks and good night, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. You just got about 2 weeks to save 16% on annual subscriptions. You don't want to miss out on Subscriber Summer. Ray and I just recorded 3 episodes of Ray walking. I'm going to start doing Sundays in the Bay where I'm recording myself walking in different places in San Francisco area. We've got catalog episodes, Fearless Flyer episodes. Those are all going to be subscriber only this summer. You do not want to miss out on Subscriber Summer. So sign up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, but do it by the end of the month so you save 16% on annual subscriptions. Couldn't do it without all of you. Those of you that have been following and know about my apartment flooding out and stuff. I'm recording in a car, but I'm doing it chill and easy. So thanks for the support and good night, everybody.